What's going on, guys? My name is Tommy. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another episode of the Forgotten Race Review. Today, at the request of Mr. Kirk McCullough, we'll be talking about a race that's not quite so forgotten, the Aasimar, which in Pathfinder appears all over the place. Inner Sea Races, the Advanced Race Guide, and most recently in their very own splat book, Blood of Angels. As always, this channel is directly supported by patronage, and patronage is the #1 way to help this channel do super great, awesome stuff. If you'd like to see this channel grow, do bigger, better, more awesome things, the link, as always, is in the description. Today's episode of the Forgotten Race Review was brought to you in part by the Inn of Planar Crossroads. The first Azemar I ever played in my entire gaming career, I actually played last night at the Inn of Planar Crossroads on a one-shot in exchange for recording for Kane. I had a whole lot of fun with it, though it ended up going a lot longer than I think anybody thought it would. You guys should be able to see it over there really soon. Be sure to check it out. Now let's dive in. So the concept of a hero with divine parentage has been with us as long as stories have been with us. Fantasy stories are rife with heroes that have been touched by the gods, those who might be children of the gods, even going so far back as to, say, Hercules, the son of Zeus. That's the idea here with the Aasimar. The Aasimar is essentially the polar opposite of the Tiefling, whereas the Tiefling's genetics have just a wee little touch of the lower planes. The Aasimar's genetics have a touch of the higher planes. Perhaps someone's great-great-great-great-great-grandfather was a paladin who fought against necromancy. Perhaps somebody was just particularly pious. Or in some cases, perhaps an angel came down to the material plane and through their divine presence impregnated someone, and on down the line, the genetics are distilled until eventually an Aasimar pops out. Aasimars in tabletop role-playing games came out 2 years after the original Planescape boxed set. The Aasimar was a part of the expanded planar racial PC offerings presented in the Planewalker's Handbook, alongside those in Pathfinder that would become the Oreads, Ifrits, Sylphs, and Undines, the Genasi, and they've been with us ever since. In Pathfinder, Aasimars are the beautiful and the blessed, the descendants of those who have consorted with the angels and other great beings of the good-aligned planes. They bear the blood of the Celestials in their veins, biological proof of their forebears' worth and righteousness, and the glow of that association is too bright to be contained, often expressing itself in undeniable ways. The common man see Aasimars as wise, pure, talented, and beautiful. At the same time, Aasimars carry the unique burden of the privileged. With Aasimars' unasked-for gifts comes the natural jealousy of the ordinary people surrounding them. Some Aasimars take these gifts for granted, perhaps even seeing themselves as inherently better than the common man, while others must constantly prove themselves worthy of admiration. Aasimars are physically elevated creatures. While they evidence all the normal variation of any race, as a group they are significantly more attractive than their mundane parentage might suggest. It's not simply a matter of being leaner or more delicately featured like an elf, but rather Aasimar beauty is often as much in the eye of the beholder as any objective standard. While some things, the obvious glow of health, the metallic sheen of hair, are easy to pick out and are an easy way to determine who's an Aasimar and who's just attractive, onlookers often seem more inclined to interpret their appearance favorably and to fixate on features that appeal to them. A nose that might seem overlarge on a human is majestic and hawkish on an Aasimar, and a build that might be stumpy on others instead suggests strength. In many ways, such as this, an Aasimar's beauty is inexplicable, which helps to explain how an Aasimar child from an unattractive mortal parent might resemble that parent while somehow looking significantly better. Now, just because Aasimars are descended from good-aligned outsiders, and like the Tiefling, we have several stat blocks for the various good-aligned outsider heritages for our various Aasimars. Specifically, we're looking at the Agathian, Angel, Archon, Azada, Garuda, and Peri. That doesn't necessarily mean every single solitary Aasimar is a lawful good paladin. Lots of Aasimars can just as easily feel the pressure of society to be this good and glorious thing, and they might feel the pressure of having to live up to these standards for their whole life that eventually they just rebel against them and, become a priest of Lamashtu or something crazy like that. There are a bajillion ways to dress up our Aasimar, but today, in terms of the stat block, we'll be talking about specifically the vanilla Aasimar. that humanoid with just a faint trace of outsider blood. Not entirely sure where it comes from. Maybe that's the backstory right there, is running around trying to figure out who you are, what you should be, what is expected of you, all that fun stuff. Azemars are insightful, confident, and personable. They gain +2 to their wisdom and +2 to their charisma with no negs to any stats anywhere. They are medium-sized native outsiders with a base speed of 30 feet. Azemars have acid resistance 5, cold resistance 5, and electricity resistance 5, and receive a +2 racial bonus on diplomacy and perception. Azemars can use daylight once per day as a spell-like ability, but also have dark vision out to 60 feet. And there you have it. What you see is basically what you get. These guys are good at being anything because they take no negs to anything. They get a +2 to the most rolled skill in Pathfinder and a +2 to a skill that's probably about in the top 5 of most rolled skills in Pathfinder. And though they themselves possess dark vision, they can cast daylight to help their friends see in the dark, spooky places of the world. Again, the Azemar stats are good for anything. You can play an Azemar any way you want to, even if that means your Azemar converts to the dark side. And now I'm going to turn it over to you guys. Have you ever played an Azemar? Have you ever GM'd for an Azemar? Or have you ever had an NPC Azemar in your campaign that was particularly important to the story, specifically because of their bloodline? Be sure to like and subscribe for more videos. The next episode of the Forgotten Race Review, where we talk about another race with way too much RP, the Centaur, drops next Monday.